Hi, yeah, it's Jackie here from the LGFA, and we're on a call looking ahead to more club activity coming up over the coming days, specifically at the weekend. We have representatives from two provincial finals on our call today, and we're also joined by Sean Ryan, who is the Belgium PRO. And Belgium are sending a team to Leeds on Sunday to play Hugh O'Neills in the current account All-Ireland Junior preliminary round match, and you can watch that game as a live stream. Go to ladiesgaelic.ie for full details and also check out our social media channels. But to introduce my guest, Eibhlís Cooney is a member of the famous Ballymacarbry in County Waterford, looking ahead to a Munster final against the banner from Clare. Bottom right hand side of my screen is Jackie Kinch from Tinahely in County Wicklow, looking ahead to a Leinster senior final against Kilmacud Crokes, and the aforementioned Sean Ryan, a native of Meath originally, now in with Belgium GAA as their PRO. Folks, welcome. I hope that long-winded intro hasn't bored you all to tears. How are we doing today? All good, all good.
And yourself?
Good, thanks. Jackie, we'll come to you first. We'll check that line and see how you're doing. You're out in the car and the baiting and the rain baiting down on top of you. I hope you're dry anyway. Jackie, Tinahely against Kilmacud Crokes. What an occasion this promises to be.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably a highlight to Tinahely's career anyway. It's the furthest we've got, so it's definitely a word you use there as an occasion, all right, for us.
Yeah, but I suppose... what is the balance do you need to strike here, Jackie, not to get overawed by the occasion and the opponents, because you're here on merit, you're in with a massive chance, and to not get overawed by everything and just manage to focus in on a performance. What is that challenge like, Jackie, as an experienced player?
I think the fact that girls are used to playing in big games. We've been in Leinster a couple of years. We won the intermediate last year. I think girls kind of know their routine, they know their preparation, and I think they're well able to handle that. I think in the sense of probably I'm assuming Kilmacud are favourites going into this game. So girls will know that we need to work hard as well. So I think the occasion probably won't get to any of the girls. I think more so it's just having to know in the back of the mind that it's just another day at the office and everyone's preparation is going to be the exact same as it has been for the previous matches and even for championship matches within Wicklow.
Jackie, is this where you expected to be, or have you surpassed expectations? What's that feeling like?
To be honest with you, I generally just usually take one game at a time. So every additional game is an added bonus. And this obviously you'd be always dreaming of this. You'd be always dreaming your end goal is always the final, but you kind of set your goals at the beginning of the year and that's your end goal and you kind of work towards it and everything else is a bonus towards it. I suppose from my point of view anyway, personally, is that I probably didn't get too caught up on it during the year. And the end goal is there, but then you kind of work toward it. You nearly forget that you put it down as an end goal until you've got there as such. And it's probably a huge honour, the fact that you're doing it with all your best friends as well. And the club absolutely back every one of us as players. The supporters are just immense. You couldn't ask for better supporters. And then the fact that all the girls are buying in as well, it just makes it easy to go out there and play with each other as well. It's enjoyable even going to any of the trainings. It's an enjoyable experience.
Brilliant, you're buzzing, I can see it by you. And Eibhlís, you have a Munster final coming up at the weekend against the banner from Clare. You've obviously knocked out Mourne along the way to the final, but you didn't underestimate your semi-final opponents, and I'm sure you certainly won't underestimate the banner, who are very much here on merit as well. Eibhlís, what's the mood in the Ballymac camp coming up to this one?
I suppose all year we've literally just been looking from one game to the next, and I suppose this is no different. Definitely training is enjoyable, but at the same time we're pushing each other hard. I suppose we're under no illusions of the mammoth task that we're against on Sunday, but at the same time I suppose we're quietly confident, but we know that we have a massive task in front of us. And I suppose we've had a few battles with the banner down over the years, and we're familiar and we know the experience that they're bringing to this game on Sunday. So yeah, I suppose the mood is good, and we're in a good place. And we went down to Waterford there 2 weeks ago. It was a 7-hour round trip, and I think Southern Gales definitely had their homework done on us, and we didn't have it all our own way down there. So hopefully that will stand to us again on Sunday.
What was the more satisfactory result? Because we had Michelle on one of our previous shows, Eibhlís, and that was looking ahead to the Southern Gales match, and I suppose it was a case of after beating Mourneabbey to go down to Southern Gales and perform again. So I suppose after maybe the more headline catching result, we'll put it that way, against Mourneabbey, to go down then to Kerry, as you say, that long journey and grit out a win. What was the more satisfactory result from a player's point of view, Eibhlís?
Well, like I was saying, we have only been looking from game to game, and I suppose despite having the win over Mourneabbey, we still don't have anything extra than what we've had over the last, I think, 20 or 22 years. So I suppose there was actually a bit of pressure coming with the fact that we'd beat Mourneabbey, and I suppose we had to produce the goods again against Southern Gales. So I suppose we're happy to get over each game, and we're just taking each game as it comes. So I suppose we don't have anything extra than what we had before we bet Mourneabbey. So each game was as important as the other, I suppose, to get the win. But we were delighted to get over Southern Gales, and I suppose we didn't have it all our own way, which is, it was good, and it was good to get that challenge again coming into the game on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of experience and battle-hardened players in your group, Eibhlís, so that will surely stand you in good stead. Sean, down to your good self. I have to say, I love the background, the backdrop of your room there. Very, very, very pretty and quaint. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself first. You're obviously from Meath, and how you ended up as the Belgium Gaelic Games PRO.
Yeah, so came over here maybe around 3 or 4 years ago to Belgium. A job came up as I finished college and took it on. And like many Irish people coming over here, you reach out to your local or to your kind of closest Gaelic games. And if I hadn't done that, I don't think I'd still be in Belgium or where I am now. And we just have a big community over here, Irish community in Brussels. We have over 100 members. We have around 20 nationalities in our club as well, which is something that I find is very extraordinary.
That's amazing, yeah.
Yeah. So mainly from our ladies team is kind of a lot. You'll see now on Saturday, a lot of maybe, I think around maybe 6 or 7 will not be Irish, and I wouldn't underestimate just because they're not Irish that they of their skill level, because we've been playing all over Europe all year, and our ladies team have won every tournament that we've played in. And we've had times where a non-native is the technical term,
yes,
with Gaelic Games Europe would use, but they have won, say, every tournament. We'd have a player of a tournament, and there has been non-Irish people winning it.
So, Hugh O'Neills, you have been warned. So, John, I did see the team list coming in, and you preempted my next question in terms of what is the split between players who are, have gone out there from Ireland and the non-native. So there is quite a good balance there of players between native and non-native, as we'll say.
Yeah, there's a lot of skills kind of that to be integrated in. I think like anytime we say we would train or play, there'd be always people stopping and asking and being like, oh, what's going on here? And we'd be a very open club. We're lucky that we're one of the biggest in Europe. So we would, anywhere we'd go, we'd usually have 2 teams. Even at one stage, our ladies team had 3 teams going to Leuven. Now this is played on a 9 or 11-a-side game. So we don't have a full 15-a-side pitch, only in Maastricht and Rennes. But usually when we play, it is 9 or 11, but still to have 3 teams is not really seen too much. And the women's team managed to do it for one tournament. So there's a lot of different skill levels involved. There's some really high end, but also there's a very social end. And if you want to join and are brand new to it, there's still game time to be had, and there's still to enjoy our sport.
Brilliant. Sean, what part of Meath are you from originally? Do you want to give a shout out to anybody while you're...
I'm from Summerhill, who they lost the senior for the men's, lost the senior football title or final to Ratoath. So we were just unfortunate, lost by I think 2 points. I'll give a shout out to my dad, who's the chairman of the club, who was very disappointed, but maybe next year.
Okay. And a big hello to Dad as well from all of us here as well, Sean. Are you making the trip yourself, Sean, or watching from afar? As you say, we have the stream, so you'll be able to
Yeah,
watch it if you're
I'll
not
be watching
on the
from
plane.
afar. I'm organising a little watch party here in the sitting room come Saturday. Unfortunately, I'm not going. My girlfriend is playing on the team,
Okay.
and there was a very quick turnaround. So to be fair to the women on the team, we didn't know if we were going to be traveling to Leeds or Birmingham. I'm pretty sure it was the final, so only until 2 weeks ago. So it was very kind of very rushed for everyone to kind of get their travel and accommodation sorted. So for me, it wasn't feasible really. But I wish I was, but I'll be watching definitely from the sitting room here.
And a very nice sitting room it is, as we've already mentioned. Jackie, a player obviously who's accustomed to big games, big occasions. What's this week like for you in terms of? I mean, look, you would have been forgiven when I got in touch and said, "Do you want to come on the show?" If you'd said no, because a lot of players would prefer maybe to try and avoid talk and hype and all that kind of stuff. Others embrace it. What's your kind of modus operandi this week in terms of getting through the week and training sessions and maybe trying to engage with talk or trying to avoid it or whatever the case may be?
I just treat it like another game. I tried. Someone gave me a piece of advice when I was a bit younger. I used to get awful nervous before matches, and she came up to me before one of the matches and she said, "Just treat it like another training session." So I took that advice on board, and it's something I even say to younger kids now playing. I'm like, just treat it as another training session. So I just treat it exact same. I'll work the exact same normal as I would usually, and I'll the exact same routine as I'd have week in, week out, to be honest with you, Jackie. I'll try not change too much, because I feel when you start to change things up a little bit, that's when you kind of throw yourself before matches. So we'll try keep everything as normal as possible.
But good. And that suits you down to the ground, Jackie.
I don't know. Well, we'll just keep going with it anyway.
Good. And Jackie, you mentioned earlier on, and Aoife mentioned it on our previous call, actually, Aoife Gorman, the manner in which this run has captured the imagination of the local people. Has it even gone up a notch since reaching the final now, Jackie?
I think it definitely has. I think the fact, like, people would have thought we got to the semi-final last year and Dunboyne beat us by a point, and I think people would have said, right, that maybe as far as the girls are going to get is the semi-final. And like, we had a hugely difficult game against Eidstown, and I think when the supporters, like, support we had at that was excellent. And I think when the supporters seen the comeback in the second half and like the grit that we kind of gave and the commitment we gave to the game, I think they got on board and they were like, these girls can do something. So we'll see what happens at the weekend. Hopefully we can turn a few heads.
Good. We wait and see, and we wish you well, Jackie. Eibhlís, back to yourself, and I'm taking on board all elements of physio client confidentiality when I ask you this question. This week now, are you dealing with people that are aware that you're a footballer, or are they aware of the big match that's coming up? If they are, do you talk to them about it, or do you try and stay away? The same question I asked Jackie, do you try and maybe stay away from the hype a little bit? And does work help you to do that and keep your mind occupied on maybe something else?
I suppose I'm based in South Tip, so just over the border from Waterford. So not as many people would be aware, but I suppose you just engage in the chit chat. But like Jackie was saying there, not changing anything than other weeks or years, and just going training and going to work and doing what you normally do. And I suppose you can't avoid talk about it. You have to engage a little bit, but I suppose the lads at work know that we have the game on Sunday, but we haven't been discussing it all week. Just well wishes, which is great. And I suppose people want the best for you and that, and you know the people are behind you. And I suppose the same with our supporters in Ballymac. They're great. Like, even the amount of people that travelled down to Waterford there 2 weeks ago, like the same old reliable supporters, with us through thick and thin, I suppose. And I suppose the Nair are the senior men's team. They won the county final on Sunday as well. So I suppose we'll be hoping, that we'll have 2 wins before the week is out, and I suppose that support stays with us as well at the weekend.
There could be a good few weeks ahead. You never know. At least the way things are shaping up. And what's your speciality in physio? Are you sports injuries or rehab or older people? What field are you in?
I'm in elderly rehab at the moment. Yeah, so that's my area. Yeah.
Very good. And you've been a physio obviously since coming through college, or how did this road open up for you?
Yeah, so I graduated in 2011, and I suppose I would have definitely went into physio on the background of sport, and I've worked in outpatients and I've worked in a sports injury clinic as well, but I suppose this is just the path that has brought me. I moved to South Tip, and this is the area, and I suppose I'm enjoying it, and I suppose physio is great. There's so many different areas to it. Everyone thinks about the sports side of it, but there's respiratory and neurology care of the elderly, and I suppose whatever your passion or your interest is there's an opportunity there.
And does it suit with training and playing? Are the hours okay in that sense?
Yeah, so I suppose I'm very lucky. I'm living the dream, working the Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So that does tend to lend itself to the training and the matches at the weekend. So I'm very lucky that way. I suppose you would have to admire people that work in private practice. It can be a little bit trickier, I suppose, with trying to work around the training and the matches. As I suppose you kind of tend to have to work, I suppose, outside those kind of core 9 to 5 hours. So I suppose I'm very lucky that I can go training and I can go to the matches relatively easy,
Good. I wish you well at the weekend as well. Sean, I'm going to finish up with your good self, and thanks for your time. Sean, talk to me a little bit about the logistics involved in getting a bunch of people on a plane and getting them over to Leeds, and accommodation and everything else that goes with it, and match logistics. What's involved in all of that?
Yeah, so we're pretty used to it by now. Like our club, when we're playing, more or less we are traveling every weekend. So say this year in both, say I'm going to use hurling camogie, but I'll use ladies football and men's football. As a club, we've been to Munich. We've been to Rennes, which is like 5 hours away. So Amsterdam, a lot of time we're actually going on the Friday night, staying the weekend. So this is something that we're pretty used to it. It does be great crack going around Europe and playing, and then having a weekend away, and then everyone kind of afterwards for dinner and drinks and so on. It's one of the highlights of the year, really. So it is something that's used to, but particularly for this occasion, it was a small bit awkward from what I believe from herself telling me how it's going to be done. So basically, you need to go and get a bus to a place called Charleroi, which is an airport, which is maybe an hour outside Brussels. From there to fly to Manchester, and then from Manchester to get to Leeds. Now I think they said there's train strikes as well, so there's kind of more things that are difficult as well. But then from Manchester to Leeds, so a lot of people, I think the majority of people are going on the Friday after work, staying the Friday night. Some are staying in Manchester, some are staying in Leeds, and then Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon head back from Manchester back to Charleroi, and then Charleroi to Brussels.
Wow. I tell you, I don't know about Eibhlís and Jackie, but listen to the weekends away there. It sounds like a good club to be part of. But all jokes aside, it's a fair trek over now, and trying to get a game in as well, and to be fresh for a match. Sean, I presume management have taken everything into account in terms of timings and making sure the players that are over, as you say, on the Friday get a good night's rest as well on the Friday night before the game.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes when we play, some people might go Saturday morning. So you might be playing a game, and tournaments, they start at 9 a.m. sometimes. So if it's in Amsterdam or Den Haag or somewhere, mainly in the Netherlands, you drive 2.5 hours. So you'd be up at maybe 5 a.m., maybe 6, or leaving Brussels at 6 to be there at 8 or 8:30. And then your first throw-ins at 9 a.m. and you mightn't finish till 4 or 5 p.m. then. So it does be a long day, but it does be very enjoyable as well. So there's no problem there. I'm sure they'll be used to it come Saturday.
Good, Sean. You mentioned your girlfriend is on the team. What's her name? Who should we be looking out for on Saturday?
Her name is Florina Toban Escobar. So she's one of these players who I was mentioning earlier about being a non-Irish person. So did Erasmus in Maynooth in Kildare for a year and kind of learned about the sport there, and then came back to Brussels and started playing in Brussels.
Brilliant. So football and romance. Brilliant. We've had it all. We've had it all today. Sean, I wish you well and really, really appreciate your time. So Jackie Kinch from Tinahely and Wicklow, best wishes in the Leinster final. And Eibhlís Cooney from Ballymacarbry and Waterford, best wishes in the Munster final at the weekend. And Sean from Belgium GAA, Belgium sending a team to play Hugh O'Neills from Leeds, who are the British champions in the currentaccount.ie All-Ireland Junior Preliminary match, 1 p.m. Saturday. You can watch that live with us as well. I believe your game is live streamed as well, Eibhlís, and Jackie, the Leinster final has definitely been live streamed as well. So plenty to look forward to, folks. So that's been this week's show, folks, from the two Jackies, Eibhlís and Sean. Thank you so much for tuning in. Folks, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, Jackie.